Welcome to Story Jam Theater. I'm your host, Chris Krimitsos. If you're moved and inspired by stories, then you're in the right place. On today's show, we feature Dave Dockery, aka Doc. If you've ever met Doc, you know that Doc has never met a stranger, but he actually goes to the fundamental story that changed the way he looks at people and how he makes everybody his friend. So enjoy this really profound story told by Doc.
I'm a little embarrassed to tell you this story. And I'll tell you why. I get a little choked up every time I tell it, and you'll hear it in my voice. And number two, because it may never have happened. It's something that I read in Reader's Digest when I was a kid. And the thing about it is people got paid $100 or a couple $100 to send those in. So it gave a great chance for a fiction writer to grab a couple $100 fast dollars. But as far as I was concerned, the story became real to me, and it changed my life. And it was a lady moves into a new neighborhood, and the ladies in the neighborhood made a welcome wagon visit to her. And they brought her cookies and cake and spent the day having coffee and so forth. And she asked about one lady right across the street that she'd seen a couple times but hadn't spoken to. And they said, oh, she wouldn't talk to anybody. She doesn't join anything. She doesn't talk to any of us. She's very unfriendly. And so the lady said, I'm not going to be denied. So she baked a cake, and she walked across the street, and she went up on the porch, and she knocked on the door. And the lady opened the door, and when she saw her, she didn't even give her a chance to offer the cake. She just waved her off. She said, I'm not interested. So the lady turned around and started walking off the porch. And before she got all the way, the door opened up again. And the lady said, come on in. We'll have some coffee. And so when she went in, and she said, the lady asked her, why? Why did you go out of your way to bring me some cake? And the lady said, I just wanted to do something. I just wanted to meet you. I just wanted to do something nice for you. And the other lady with tears in her eyes said, nobody's ever done that for me. And I knew at that moment in time, I was transformed, that there are people that they just need a little more. You just got to push the envelope a little bit to get to them, to let that come out of them. And so it became one of the operating principles of my life. The rest of my life, I was transformed. I never had a problem going the extra mile for another person to help that happen for them. And on that note, I want to finish by telling you very much a true story. It's a few years later, and I'm working at Firestone. And every morning, one guy there and I would cross paths, he coming one direction, me going the other direction. And I was a friendly guy. I would wave hi, and he never turned, he turned away from me every time. He wouldn't even meet my eyes. And so I did this for the first couple of weeks, and I thought, the easy thing to do is to just stop. He obviously is not interested. And then I thought, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna persevere. And so I kept on doing it, and kept on doing it, and kept on doing it. And I don't know how many months it was, but it would have been dozens of times. It was at least 7 months. And, and I would think about it occasionally and go, what kind of person could not bring himself? It would be one thing if I'd done something dastardly to him, but he didn't even know me, And I thought, what happened? And finally, one morning, out of the clear blue, he stops and he goes, hi, I understand you're a doc. And I go, yeah. And we shake hands. And from that time, I couldn't shut him up. But I always felt like that proved the point that some people, I never did find out why he was so damaged that he could not even acknowledge my presence for all those months. But you know what? From that morning, every morning that we walked by, he spoke to me, said hi.
To learn more about our storytellers, go to storyjamtheater.com. Make sure to live a life worth telling, and we'll see you next week.
This has been a Story Jam Theater podcast. Production support provided by Anthony Kovic of Real Video Production and Stuart Mackey of Mackey Productions. All stories are true as affirmed by the storytellers. Special thanks to the Film Commission of Florida, The Hive, and the Tampa Bay area.